Well, guess what? It's that time again. It's time for another episode of An Hour with Domino. It's really good to be back in 2019 now. 2018 was quite eventful for me. I talked about it in the last episode with Miah in December, right before Christmas time. 2019 now has had kind of a slow start, but a rather relaxing start. It had to be relaxing because right before 2018 ended, I caught a very terrible flu, or it was food poisoning. I'm leaning more toward food poisoning, to be honest. And that was right before the new year. Thankfully, I was a little bit better by the time the new year rolled around and I was able to have some holiday food. But yeah, it was quite a terrible experience to end the year off that way. 2019, I went into it feeling just a little bit, not weary about what I ate, but just a little bit more delicate at the beginning. And I took a lot of resting. And there is a lot that I want to touch upon in this episode. Miah is not going to be here on this episode with me, it's just going to be me. I would like to have 3 song breaks in this show today. And there's a lot that I want to talk about. Going to be getting into some gaming talk, some TV shows, movies, even some of my writing possibly toward the end of the show. Mostly a lot about games in this episode, so I hope you're ready for that. Hope everyone's doing well, and I hope you've been enjoying the podcast lately, going off and on. I know that it's pretty much the end of January now. I wanted to get an episode out sooner, but I needed some time to settle into the new year and see what I'm going to be doing. I don't really set resolutions for myself. I set little goals that I want to work up to bigger goals, which I guess in a way are kind of resolutions. But I go into a new year every year thinking to myself that there are certain things that I want to strive for or try to do, and I'm not going to let it be the end of the world if I do not accomplish it, because even though a year is a long time, it's not as long as some people may think. There are things that you can plan for yourself in a year, and sometimes you just won't accomplish them. Sometimes life gets in the way, or other things get in the way, or you change your mind, or something else happens. You never know. And then, of course, there's times when you can accomplish more in a year than what you thought you were going to do. Like last year, I published 2 books, which was nice. But this year, I guess we'll see what happens. I would love to publish another book this year, I really would. I was working on one a few days ago, actually. I'm going to talk about that later on, though. One of the first things that I want to talk about in the show, actually, before we get into gaming talk and everything, is the last episode I was talking about. There was a TV show that I was looking forward to seeing soon. And I have since started at the beginning of the month with Miah. We are still currently watching it, and it's still ongoing, thankfully. It's being very well received, which I'm glad, because I really want to see it progress and have an actual ending. A lot of shows these days are cancelled because people rarely watch TV anymore. And either that, they're moved to Hulu or Netflix, some other place that will host a TV show, or other type of shows that, are filmed with more than one episode, whether it be an hour long or 30 minutes long. The one that I want to talk about first of all, and I actually just got done watching before recording this episode, because we have our TV set to record it ahead of time so that we can watch it at our leisure. I usually watch it when Miah's home with me. I would like to talk about Project Blue Book. Now, some people probably already have been watching this. For those who haven't, what it's about is it takes place in between the late 40s and all through the 50s and into the early 60s, during all of the wave of UFO investigations that went on in America, and about how the military and the government tried to cover them up. And it deals with the investigations of Dr. J. Allen Hynek, and who is very well renowned now for all of his UFO theories and discoveries. And not only that, but he was also a very famous astronomer, and he also worked with, I believe it was astrophysics, and hold on, he did a lot of rocket science. In very simple terms, he was a rocket scientist, and he was an astronomer and ufologist. And I actually really like his work. I really like everything that he had investigated, and he's one of the primary characters in the show, portrayed by somebody else, obviously, because the real Dr. Hynek is now deceased. He passed away in the 80s. But it is a show that is really very fascinating so far. I know a lot of people are skeptical about UFOs or extraterrestrials in general. But I've always been fascinated with it. I've had certain questionable experiences of my own, even, but that is something to talk about on Domino Tales, which I want to get back into later on with Miah especially. Dr. Hynek is the person who also developed the Close Encounter classification system. The Close Encounters of the first, second, and third kinds. There was a movie also, what was it, the 70s or the 80s? He was actually in that movie toward the very end, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Spielberg film. And he had a cameo in it. He didn't speak, I don't believe, but he had a cameo in the very end of the movie. I really love where the show is going so far. It really pulls you into it. It makes you question a lot of things about, what is really beyond our own planet, what the government tries to hide, what truly went on during wartime, and how wartime actually was used to cover up other things and make it look like it was things that were misunderstood. I've investigated ufology for a long time, off and on, along with parapsychology, and I've always had my own beliefs, and they may not be the same as everyone else's, but I have met people who do share some of my beliefs, thankfully. I really love the way the show is filmed. It really seems like that every episode, which is an hour long, are like little mini movies that continue as like sequels of the first episode, and I really love that when a show can do that. It doesn't really seem like a true TV show, and they seem like short dramas, short films each time. They did a very good job setting up the themes, the sets, the whole look of the late 40s and the early 50s so far is where we're at. I know it's going to move into eventually the late 50s and then into the 60s by the time the show is getting closer to ending. This is a topic that I love to discuss with Miah, and love to have him either on Domino Tales or even on An Hour with Domino talking about it. He's told me many times that him and his brother have always been interested in extraterrestrials and aliens and UFOs ever since they were little too, and it's partly why we were drawn to this story, this show. I'm so glad that it's being well received so far because, like I said, I really want to see it have a proper ending. I haven't found that where you can buy the episodes yet. I don't think they're released yet, but it's being shown on the History Channel for anyone who has not been caught up with it yet. They do show reruns of the older episodes, apparently. So if you have not seen from the beginning, you might be able to. You certainly will when the show is released to be able to be bought. But it's very well acted. I really love how well it's filmed. The themes are all set up very nicely and believable. And when you go into watching it, you have to remember that, yes, there are things that people of higher power have hid from the rest of the world. That has been going on for decades. And Dr. Hynek, he originally, when he was called into investigating UFOs, he originally was a skeptic. After he went through all of his experiences and seen the things that he's seen, it completely changed his mind by the time he was done. And there was an actual quote that he had that I really liked, and I can read it for you as soon as I get to it. And his quote was, "I hold it entirely possible that a technology exists which encompasses both the physical and the psychic, the material and the mental. There are stars that are millions of years older than our sun. That may be civilization that has millions of years more advanced than man's. We have gone from Kitty Hawk to the moon in some 70 years, but it's possible that a million-year-old civilization may know something that we don't. I hypothesize that M&M technology, encompassing the mental and the material realms, the psychic realms so mysterious to us today, may be an ordinary part of a more advanced technology." Pretty much meaning that, things that we are only just beginning to learn about might be everyday life to some other more advanced race out there in the universe. And I completely agree with him on that. So, if people truly do want to know what some of my beliefs or what I believe in, yes, I do believe that there are life outside of our own planet. It's truly stupid to think there isn't. At least I feel it's ridiculous to think that we're the only living things in the entire universe for how vast it is. It's you have to at least consider there would be something else. And that's just my take on it. That's just how I feel about it. But if you haven't watched Project Blue Book, and if you would like to, if you're curious about it, I definitely suggest it. You really should. It's very good so far, and I look forward to seeing more of it soon. Considering that there is so much I want to talk about in the gaming world, we're going to be kind of splitting that up into not just one segment of the show today, but more than one. I'm just going to talk about it throughout the show. So I hope everyone doesn't mind that. There really won't be too much anime talk in this episode. I don't have too much news on that right now. I haven't seen too much anime lately, but I hope to actually watch some either tonight or maybe tomorrow, fairly soon again. I've been busy with a lot of other things. And the first in the gaming world I'd like to touch upon is Dead or Alive 6. Now, I know I've been talking about that for several episodes. They finally have all of the characters released for the full roster. Finally, all of them are revealed. There's not going to be any more unless they're downloadable content, which is likely. I mean, so many games now have downloadable content. The last time I talked, it was revealed that characters Elliot and Brad Wong were revealed. They have revealed finally Neo Tengu, which is one of Miah's favorite characters as well as Elliot. He also really loves Neo Tengu. Phase 4 will be another additional character, which she wasn't too well known. Phase 4, but it wasn't used very much in the main story, but she will be a part of it. And the last character now will be Rido. Rido was from earlier Dead or Alive games, like really early. One for like the first 2 games. He was believed to be a deceased character, but he is being brought back because, according to his story, his body was secretly recovered and it was experimented on, and which left him without a conscience of his own. And he's now going to be in the primary lineup, and he's going to be kind of the madman kind of character. He's most likely the primary antagonist that you'll have to fight at the end of the storyline. They usually go that way. But yeah, that is the new information about Dead or Alive 6. The release date was pushed back because they were working on perfecting the game, which it's fine with me. It may not be released in February, it might be released in March. When it is released, I will be playing it, and I will probably feature it on Domino Miah Games with Miah, where we will hopefully have some good battles together. I really hope that Neo Tengu is actually part of the primary roster and she's not just a downloadable character. I think she was only downloadable in like the pre-release of the game. I think she'll come with the basic game, but if not, oh well, I'll download her. I don't care. All in all, I'm very much excited. There's so much going on with games lately, and upcoming this year too, and I mean, last year, 2018, was a very big year for games and for movies. And it's supposed to be the same this year, too. I have a lot to look forward to. For some reason, I am extremely thirsty today. It's probably because I had such a salty meal before I came on here. I had some ramen. I really do love ramen noodles. We are going to go on our first break, and I will see you after Domino Radio. Enjoy the music. Welcome back to An Hour with Domino. The song you just heard was Hot Licorice by Dick Walter. It's been featured in many movies, and particularly the first time I ever heard it was in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, when they were doing the Bogart scene. It was played on the gramophone. I had loved that song ever since I first heard it. A lot of people, when they first heard it in the movie, they mistook it for Sing 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 by Benny Goodman, but they are clearly two different songs. And it has now been finally revealed what song it actually was, because it was uncredited in the movie. But it's a great big band hit. I really love it. It's too bad I cannot find it on vinyl, though. I don't think it was ever released on vinyl. The next topic we're going to move into is Soul Calibur 6. You remember when I was going to be getting it, and lately on Domino Miah Games we had featured episodes of me and Miah playing Soul Calibur 5 again, and we were talking about how I was getting number 6. Well, I technically got Soul Calibur 6 in early January, so by the time those episodes had come out, I had already had the game, even though in the episodes I say I was still getting the game. But I have all of my characters remade in Soul Calibur 6, because you know the feature of making your own characters. All first 50 of them, and plus 50 new ones. I can't wait to showcase them on the channel. I can't wait to have Miah play them with me. He has not seen all of my new characters. He only knows the first 50. I want to make a note again for people who are listening that all of my Soul Calibur characters, none of those characters are in any of my writing, with the exception of 2. There were 2 characters that I did do a little bit of writing for, but they're not in any of my books. They might be someday in the future, but it was just like a little story that I was writing with them a long time ago. But yeah, none of these characters are in any of my books, so I don't want that to be confused at all. My Soul Calibur characters that I create in the game are strictly for pretty much that universe. I do have stories for all of them, and I might develop them someday in a book, who knows. But as for right now, I really haven't, and I really love seeing how Miah reacts to all of them. And I'm looking forward to showing all of the new 50 to him. It has come to my attention that in Soul Calibur 6 that there's going to be a Season Pass number 2. I actually just figured that out right before I started this episode, and I had to watch a video on it. Season Passes are downloadable content for games, and I already have everything for Soul Calibur 6 already, except for any future updates. So when Season Pass 2 comes out, which is going to be adding new characters to the game, more to their roster, to Soul Calibur storyline, that will mean more content for me to edit my own characters. So I will be showcasing all 100 of my created characters, and if I make any edit changes to them later, I will do that in a solo episode for Domino Miah Games, and Miah can join me with that if he wants to, but yeah. That'll be a much later time. I really love the actual storyline to Soul Calibur 6. I mean, I've really grown to love the characters that are in the actual story, the ones that I have not created. One of my favorite characters actually is Killick. I think he is extremely attractive, and I also think that he is a really positive character. He's got such a tragic story in the beginning, but the game itself is so well acted and voice acted, and it's so beautifully drawn and got lovely renderings of their characters in it. I can truly tell that they put a lot of heart and passion into this game, and they really wanted it to succeed. They pretty much made it to where they are rebooting their series, and I remember when Soul Calibur 6 was first announced, they said that if it does not do well, they won't make any more future Soul Calibur games. So thankfully, this one has been successful so far, and people are still loving it, and they're creating more content for it, so they want it to succeed, and hopefully it will, so they will maybe make more stuff in the future. And if not, I guess it'll be the last one. It's unfortunate, but at least I know that I have something to create my own characters in, because I've always wanted to make my own martial arts or fighting game, and this is the only way I can do it so far. And truly, I love the way they look in this game. I love the way my characters look in this game. It looks so much better than the last one. I mean, the last one I still love. It looks really good. But this one, I can definitely tell they've improved upon a lot of things. It's so much easier to use special moves, and the storyline is amazing so far. I'm still not done playing the actual storyline, but I do plan to do some of that, possibly on Domino Miah games too. One of the characters that I actually am hoping that's going to be in Season Pass number 2 for Soul Calibur, it's a character known as Setsuka. Now, Setsuka, she is a geisha, and she has I believe it's a concealed blade in her umbrella, and I think that fighting style is really fascinating. I really love that, and I would love to incorporate that with some of my characters in the editing. And there is talk about how she will possibly make it into the roster as well, but we already have several characters into the game, so we're gonna have to see. I know I know some of my characters that fighting style would go very well with, so we can only hope for all the fans of the series. Moving on to another game that I've really been enjoying lately, it's called Planet Coaster. Now, I know Planet Coaster's been out for a little while, I think since 2016, I believe. I have everything that has been released for that game into my game, with the exception of a few stuff packs, but I have all of the primary updates and everything. And I plan to actually show a little bit of this, not only on my DeviantArt, some of the creations I've made, but also possibly on Domino Miah games as well. Planet Coaster is a theme park simulator. As some of you may know, I absolutely love amusement park rides because they are such fascinating and advanced machines, and I really love how creative we can make them, and I love their history too. They have a long and rich history. I love amusement parks too, which is kind of rare for me, considering I'm a person who generally loves to be at home and do not like to be around crowds of people. I don't really like to be bothered by people in general. But I love going to amusement parks mostly for the rides and for the food, and I really love this game. It is so beautiful and so well done. The attention to detail in this game is amazing. I can honestly say that it is the best amusement park or theme park simulator game I have ever played. It is the best one. The Roller Coaster Tycoon series, which I was a long fan of for a while, I might be kind of drifting away from that soon. I still like it, but I might be drifting away from that soon if Planet Coaster continues to please me. They've been kind of falling on some hard times lately, because they're not really paying attention to their fans a whole lot. At least that's what the talk is about it. I don't know how true it is, but Planet Coaster has such a warm and welcoming community and development team. They give fans what they want. That's important. They have an excellent development team to where everything they make is so realistic looking and beautifully rendered. When I downloaded the vintage pack for Planet Coaster and it came with the classic Scrambler ride, I was so happy with that. You have no idea how happy I was with that, to see how well that was rendered, and it just reminded me of the classic Scrambler ride that I went to at Valdemar Park when I was younger. And I actually got my ride to look exactly like the one in the park used to look. It was all silver with a little bit of red paint on certain parts, like red accents. And it was amazing how I could get mine to look exactly like that one. I know this might be boring to some people, but it's not to me. And if you do think it's boring, why are you listening to my podcast anyway? But I really love this game, and I intend to play with it much more, and I'm going to be talking about it more. I've already made 2 parks in the game. I'm going to be showcasing those off and on in various places, and expect to hear a lot more about it in the future. In addition to how good it looks and all the content that's in it, I also really love the fact that I can put my own music into the game too. Like when you map out your rides and everything and you set them all up and their functionality, you can have the rides play any song you want them to play. I've already put some music into my game so that when the people go on my rides, they're listening to certain songs and stuff. And I've been just having a lot of fun with it lately. That is another reason that this year was kind of slow starting with me. I've been having a lot of fun with my new games, Soul Calibur 6, Planet Coaster, and I've still been playing Pokemon Revolution Online off and on too. That's never gonna quit with me. and of course The Sims 3 off and on. I really love my new gaming laptop. I'm so glad that it's able to support all of this. And it's been really good for me lately, playing games, and very relaxing, and that's exactly how I wanted to start a brand new year. And when I work on some new writing projects or video projects, gaming, I have a lot planned for the year then. I really don't know if Miah is going to play Planet Coaster with me. I guess I could do possibly an episode for Domino Miah Games to where I'm showing off one of my parks along with him, but I mostly plan to do that as a solo episode. That is one thing about Domino Miah Games. We have a lot of things planned. Me and Miah earlier in the month sat down together and we just planned for the whole year of new things that we want to do on our gaming channel. It's still pretty much for fun. We wouldn't mind earning something from it someday, but yeah, it is still pretty much for fun, and we have some things coming up that we have not yet announced, and I'm not going to mention a whole lot of them just in case he wants to release them a certain way. But yeah, we have a lot of things upcoming. One of those would be solo episodes. I've already done solo Domino a few times with The Sims 3, which is going to be coming back soon. Now that I have a brand new laptop to play it on, that will be coming back soon as I get the programs installed on this computer to support that. And so expect to see some new things on there upcoming. We're really excited for it. And you know what, everyone? I think it's a good time to go on our second break for the show. I take you now to Domino Radio. Enjoy the music. Welcome back to An Hour with Domino, everyone. The song you just heard was called Walking with Mr. Lee by Lee Allen. I always like that song. It's really upbeat and fun to listen to, and I wanted to feature it on the show today. The next topic we're going to go into a little bit is movies and some of my writing in just a bit. But first I want to talk about my channel, Phonomuse. It's been doing very well lately. I'm glad that people on there are appreciating the music, all vinyl enthusiasts as well. I had the other week I uploaded finally my entire Fats Domino album, and he was a great artist, one of the rock and roll pioneers. So if you want to give that a listen, I have a playlist of his on Phonomuse, and also you can just go on to Phonomuse in general and listen to any songs on there that you want of my recorded vinyl videos. And I just wanted to give that a little bit of an update. Talking about movies, there's going to be so many movies coming out this year. I really hope I can see them all. Marvel is still going on and still huge as it ever has been. I believe one of the next movies that me and Miah are going to see is Captain Marvel. I'm hoping it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it, but not as much as some of the other movies coming out this year. I do want to see it, though, just to see, where they're going to go with the Marvel Universe story. I know Captain Marvel herself is supposed to pretty much help out the Avengers at some point, because, where everything is in the movies, what had happened with the last Avengers movie, which was very big talk about how so many characters had actually died off, and Thanos had actually did what he said he was going to do. Hopefully that's not too much spoilers for anyone, but the movie's been out for over a year, so if you haven't seen it by now, I guess you're just gonna have to go and see what exactly happened. I didn't say what happened, so I didn't really spoil it for you. But I know that that's why Captain Marvel is coming into the Marvel Universe now, at the time that she is, because I know that she's supposed to help the story progress, and so all the other Marvel movies can come back, and I'm looking forward to all of those. No trailer has been revealed for it yet, but I know they've been working on It Chapter 2 for a few years now. I absolutely loved the first remake of Stephen King's It. They finally did it properly, and I talked about that some episodes ago, and I also talked about it extensively on my Facebook. I made a post on there. That movie was absolutely amazing. It certainly earns the title of being the most successful psychological horror film ever made, because it certainly is. The book itself also was one of Stephen King's many different masterpieces. He has more than one. And I really hope that they're going to touch more into the lore behind the character of It, Pennywise the Clown, also known as, where he came from and his origins and everything, because they did say that they wanted to focus on that in the second movie, to finish up the rest of the story from the book when all of the characters are grown up. I thought it was very intelligent and smart of them to do the first movie when they were just young. They focused on character development heavily, and that was very important for that kind of story. It's not always about the scares. It's a good story has good characters and a good plot. The scares will come later, when people least expect them, and it sticks with them, and that's the psychology behind it. The horror genre is extremely difficult to write. It's very psychologically driven, and few authors can do it properly. I think that Mr. King is one who can do it properly. He understands it. He understands how people think and what makes them tick. And that's why so many people are scared of some of his characters or some of his content, because he knows how to get to you. or some people who are very fascinated by it. He knows how to write people. That is his primary skill, first of all. The horror comes later. He knows how to write good stories and good characters. So I'm really hoping to see what they're going to do with It, Chapter 2. That's one movie I'm looking forward to. Really looking forward to Pokemon Detective Pikachu, of course. That's going to be coming out in May. I already talked about how much I really loved what I saw in the trailer. It looks like it's going to be really amazing with how they fit the Pokemon into the real world. Hopefully I will see a Baynet in the movie. Yes, I'm still hoping for that. It's my favorite Pokemon after all. He needs to be in the movie. I don't care if he's even in like a minute scene, as long as he's there. And I also hope that Team Rocket will be in the movie. We need the Team Rocket trio. We don't necessarily have to have Giovanni, the leader of Team Rocket, there, although that would be nice. It would make sense. But I really hope that the Team Rocket trio will be in there. And that they will look the way they're supposed to. Yeah, it's not enough to just have them there. They need to be the characters that we love. So hopefully that won't be screwed up. I hope that will be true. I'm picky about things like that, especially when I watch my films. I'm looking forward to... There are 2 X-Men movies coming out this year. One is Dark Phoenix, and the other one is The New Mutants. And I'm really looking forward to those. Been a long-time fan of the X-Men series and the story for a very long time. So it'll be interesting to see where those are going to go. I know that there are several other movies coming out this year that me and Miah are going to go see. And something I'd actually would like to do is when we get done with the movie that we actually, either on An Hour With Domino or even just on a separate thing, we talk about what we loved about the movie. I think he even mentioned that he would film us talking about it. So I guess we'll see what he decides on that. I know that he'll be listening to this episode of An Hour With Domino, so maybe that will remind him of anything that he has planned with that. And he is in the house with me right now, but he is off working on his own projects while I work on mine. Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to clear up, just in case, because, me and Miah live together. He doesn't just come over and do an episode with me. No, we are living together. We're together after all. So I think everyone pretty much knows that. But just in case I have maybe a listener that does not know, someone who does not know the extent of some parts of my life, well, now you know. But yes, I'm very much looking forward to the movies of 2019. There's going to be a lot coming out, and we're going to go into the last song break of the show, and after that I actually want to talk a little bit about some of my writing that I've been working on. So, enjoy Domino Radio for the last part of the show, and I will see you soon.
Mister, what you call 'em, what you doing tonight? Hope you're in the mood because I'm feeling just right. How's about a corner with a table for 2, where the music's mellow and some gay rendezvous? There's no chance romancing with the blue attitude. You've got to do some dancing to get in the mood. Sister, what you call 'em, that's a timely idea. Something swing-a-dilla would be good to my ear. Everybody must agree that dancing has charms when you have the certain one you love in your arms. Stepping out with you will be a sweet interlude, a builder-up that will put me in the mood. In the mood, that's it, I got it. In the mood, your ear will spot it. In the mood, oh, what a hot hit. Be alive and get the jive, you've got to learn how. Hip, hip, hip. now. Mr. What you call 'em, all you needed was fun. You can see the wonders that this evening has done. Your feet were so heavy till they hardly could move. Now they're light as feathers and you're right in the groove. You were only hungry for some musical food. You're positively, absolutely in the mood. Sister, what you call 'em, I'm indebted to you. It all goes to show what good influence can do. Never felt so happy and so fully alive. Seems the jamming jumping is a powerful jive. Swingaroo has given me a new attitude. My heart is full of rhythm and I'm in the mood. In the mood, that's it, 'cause I got it and I'm in the mood. Your ear will spot it when you're in the mood. Be alive and get the jive, you got to learn how. Hip, 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 you're hip like a hipper full of pep, pep, pep. You're hot as a pepper and you step, step, step. Step, step like a stepper. We're hugging, and now we're hugging, 'cause we're in the mood.
Well, welcome back everyone to the last part of the show. Hope you all had been enjoying this episode. There was quite a bit to talk about, and hopefully it'll make to about an hour. It actually moved along a little bit faster than what I thought it would, with all the topics that I had planned. But the song you had listened to over the break was In the Mood by the Andrews Sisters. I love the Andrews Sisters. Some of the best vocals to come out of the 40s. Alright, I said that I was going to be talking about some of my writing. I have a lot planned for my books upcoming. I'm currently still working on the Power of the Gods series, and I need to republish the second book, which I did used to have published, but I have not republished it yet since joining with my new publisher in 2017. I need to add more to that, so that's why that has not been republished just yet, because I'm still working on a few things. I have so much planned for that series, because it's such a long story. It is a story that I've been working on for most of my life. And that's something that I want to kind of talk about a little bit here, is that some of my writing that has literally been taking years to do. One of my books in particular, other than the Power of the Gods series, which has been a part of my life for a long time. I have other genres that I write besides paranormal and drama and psychological horror, but I really also love mystery and noir fiction, and one I have been working on, which I did reveal a little bit of artwork for it on my Facebook that Miah made for me, because he's known about it a little bit too, but I'm currently working on one of my noir fiction books, which is actually going to be part of another smaller series in of itself. Is going to have a continuation for the characters. But this book I've literally been writing since 2011, which is 9 years, almost 10 years. And I didn't know that it was that long until yesterday when I sat down to think about it. The main character, the book itself takes place in between the years of 1955 and 1959. The main character, not only has he been very depressive because of what happens to him in the story, he has been chasing the killer since 1955 and into 59 for that long. And one thing I told Miah, that I sort of feel like him a little bit, like it's almost like solving a real mystery. I've been in and out of this story for that long. And I actually talked about it a little bit with Miah when while he was at work, and we were texting each other on his break, and I was talking about this book in particular, and I remember telling him This one has taken me quite some time to write. I started it even before him and I were together. And it has times of going slow and times of progressing, almost like solving a real mystery, like I said. I can honestly say it's one of my books that I have spent the most time lately even just rereading what I've already wrote. I feel like the lead character sometimes. He's been chasing this killer for 5 years, and I've been writing the book longer than that even. And he replied to me by actually saying that I can definitely draw off that feeling that that I myself would be able to really put myself in my character's positions, in my character's position that way, and understand them more. And I definitely feel that. My character is slowly finding more reasons to continue onward rather than giving up in the story, and it kind of mirrors my own life in a little bit. Because when I first started writing the book, I was in a very depressive part of my life, and I found reasons to continue my life onward after that. And it's one reason that this book has taken so long, because it has times of going slow, like I said, and then it has times of progressing, and it's been going on and off like that for nearly 10 years now. I don't really know when I'm going to finish it, but this book will have some history when it's done, not just in its own words, but from my experience of writing it and continuing on with my life as well. And so I wanted to mention that a little bit. I did reveal the title of it on Facebook, but I haven't revealed the official title of the book to the public yet, but just know that it is one of my noir fiction mystery stories that I've been working on for a while. It's going to be a little bit darker than some of my other material. The Power of the Gods series does obviously have its moments where it can be pretty dark, but this book that I'm working on really does show the darker sides of humanity as well, and it's going to be all about people. There's nothing paranormal in it at all whatsoever. It is about people and how people can truly be. And I really hope it's going to be well received when it's done, considering how long it's been taking me to work on it. I'm glad that my book Moonbeam was fairly well received when I completed that. I really loved doing that one. It was very fun to work on. And if you are fans of mystery or noir fiction, just know that it won't be the only one that I'm working on. I have other ones that I have planned too. Some I've already started. I have many books that I have started and just not finished yet, because I go back to them when I feel inspired with that particular story. That's what I've always done. So that's just a little bit of something that is upcoming in my work. Not just the Power of the Gods series, but also some of my other work. And anytime people want to know anything about my writing, they can easily just ask me. I do love to talk about it. Especially if there's any characters that you have read in my books that you love and you want to know where I found inspiration for that particular character, I will let you know. Sometimes it's as simple as just meeting them in a dream. Sometimes it's more complex than that. But each one of my characters has a story. They're not just thought up on a whim. Each one of them has a reason. I don't write characters that you can just throw away. Each one of them is important to me, whether they have a role that is the main character or a small role in the story. To me, when a writer makes a character and they're kind of a throwaway character, it's almost like a betrayal to their writing in a way. I'm not trying to judge other authors on how they write, because every author writes in their own way, but it would feel to me like a betrayal of any of my characters if I just wrote them too simply, or I didn't give them enough attention. Because in the world of that story, they are a person, and they have their own story to tell, and it's important. And that's just how I feel about it. Well, everyone, I will hope you liked this episode. I don't know when the next episode will be out for An Hour with Domino. And I would like Miah to be on that one, but if he's not, I will certainly let you know. But until next time, everyone, see you then. Bye for now.